Hey guys, this is Mr. V doing a book review today for A Life in Parts by Bryan Cranston. Before I get into my book review, I just wanted to say a few things. If you guys are considering reading this book, you should know that this book does have some adult content. It's nothing too extreme, nothing too bad, but I still recommend that you guys be over the age of 18 before considering reading this book. The other thing you should know is that, again, before considering reading, you should definitely know who the actor Bryan Cranston is. And you want to know his two major roles, being Malcolm in the Middle, and you definitely want to have watched Breaking Bad, as it will make the read much more enjoyable and you'll understand a lot more. So anyway, let's get into the official book review. So, A Life in Parts is basically a biography about Bryan Cranston, and it is written by Bryan Cranston. And I would say that this was a great book. This was a very easy read because it was very entertaining, and he had some like short chapters in there, so it was very easy just to pick up the book, read a few chapters, and again, it was a lot of fun because he added a lot of entertainment in there. It's like I said, it's his biography, so it's basically just talking about his acting career, but it is also talking about his life growing up. And he basically goes in chronological order. So you get to see what it was like when he was growing up. So you see what it's like before he was an actor, when he was struggling to become an actor, and then what it was like when he became a well-known actor. And all parts are very interesting because even the part where he was growing up, it was a lot of fun because he has had a very interesting life. There's many events that happened that were very funny before he even became an actor. So that was very entertaining, and he's had a very funny life. And in his book, he actually makes many funny comments when he was thinking back about life. So it was just, it was really entertaining and fun in those regards. And then, and he does talk about obviously his acting career, but he talks about how he got into acting. And that was definitely very interesting because he also talks about like how he learned to act and like what are some of the aspects that like helped him become a better actor. And I actually found that very fascinating. I'm not going to go in depth about it, as you guys should read the book if you're interested, but it was very fascinating about like how he learned. He learned from some of the great actors. He also learned from some of the very bad actors, like what he took away from each. So again, that was another interesting part, and I thought the book covers that very well. But it just shows, like what it was like before he became an actor while he was struggling. Because, as we know about many actors, but it's like he really talks about how he was working so many different jobs, yet he still had to find time to make the auditions. And he was also talking about like the life of an actor is just full of rejection, and that you are doing all these auditions, and then you're just rejected, and then you're rejected again, and you just keep trying. And the determination that he had and many actors have, in that you're just you just get this occasional small part. You're trying, whether it be a commercial, background character, and you're always hoping for that big break. And you just keep going and you keep getting rejected. You get 10 rejections and you go for the 11th type of thing. And it was just fascinating reading it, and then like how excited he would get. But even like you would always hope for that big break. But one thing that was, I thought was great about this was that he acknowledged the type of luck you need. That yeah, you do need skill in the acting, but he acknowledges the luck. Because he just flat out tells you that how many shows fail and how many pilots, sometimes you're given a chance at a pilot, but that how many pilots fail, but then also how many times you'll shoot a pilot and then it doesn't even get to the TV, and things like that. And so that's why he acknowledges the luck. And, I thought that was very good of him to do that. It showed like he was kind of down to earth on that. And overall, though, I just felt this was a lot of fun, this book, because it was a very interesting look and to see like what the life of a true actor is like, the ups and the downs. I already talked briefly about some of the stuff before when he was struggling to become an actor. There's some ups and there's some downs, but even after you make it, he talks about some of the ups and downs. I mean, there's the obvious ones you can think of are some of the ups about being famous or, getting a consistent paycheck. That can be some of the ups. But when successful, there are still some really tough spots. And like, I'll just say just a brief thing, because again, he goes much further in depth, but it's like the amount of pressure you have. And even when you have a successful show, after the third season, you wonder, will it be signed for a fourth or what will happen? And you have a ton of pressure on you because they're expecting you to deliver. And then even he goes in depth about the ups and downs of being a celebrity. It can be fun in the beginning, but like, I'll just give you one example. He goes through a few, but one example, he talks about like some of the tough parts of being a celebrity is that so many people know you and that everybody is coming up to you and asking for an autograph or a picture, and that you can be going out to dinner with your family and people like want to just do a quick autograph, and he makes it clear that they're not trying to be rude, but they'll just ask for an autograph or a quick picture. And that he said you either have to give the autograph and then people know you do, so then more people approach you, or if you don't, you look like a jerk. So he said, that's some of the tough part. And he does say this with like in a humble approach, and he says other aspects, and I thought that was really good. Again, he says it in a very humble way, and I thought that was very well done. And I also thought that this book really opened my eyes a lot to like the life of an actor, because there's many things we don't think about when we watch them on TV or in the movies. He was on shows like I'll talk about. He was talking about Breaking Bad for one of them. That's a show we see an hour, and we just watch it, but we forget like the amount of time and effort that goes into it. Like he talked about some of his days where you're working 13 to 17 hours a day just shooting it, and it's just multiple days in a row, and that you're just doing scene after scene after scene, and you have to redo the scenes, redo the lighting, and you're just doing this, and you're working 15 hours, and how the actors do get tired when on the job. It's not that they want to quit acting, but they do get tired like everyday people. Or how sometimes an actor may not like the line, and like how do they deliver it when they don't like it? Or even the feuds among actors, that you got to pretend to be friends on the show, but you may not really like each other. And he goes in depth a little bit about the behind the scenes, and that's just another area that was a lot of fun. And another area, the last area that I really enjoyed that he covered about, that I learned about acting, is that we forget that they are humans and they have a lot of emotions, that like sometimes they go into like their work, when they're shooting a TV show, and maybe they had a horrible day, maybe they're very angry about something, yet their character on the show is supposed to be happy. So they need to like act and just change that. And, they have all these emotions, and it's tough. And you kind of see that it's just like everybody else in work. There's just the ups and the downs, and it's going to be great. It can also be tough. The only thing about the book that I did not like was that he didn't really go in depth about his part on Malcolm in the Middle. He was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle, but the show ran for 7 seasons, and he didn't really go in depth about it. He devoted some time to it, obviously, but he devoted very little of the book for how big. I mean, like, he had other minor roles before then, and some decent roles before then, but Malcolm in the Middle, to go on 7 seasons, that was like a humongous role for him. And then he went on and did Breaking Bad, and he did go in depth about his previous roles and his Breaking Bad, but he covered very little of Malcolm in the Middle, so I was a little disappointed on that. I wanted to hear more about what he thought of the actors, or, more of the behind the scenes on that. That was the only thing I could think of that I did not like of the book. I was hoping for that, but overall, I thought that this was a very fun book. And I should say this is a very addicting book, as I thought that this would take me maybe like 2 weeks. When I started, I was like, oh, I'll probably finish it within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I finished it within a matter of like 3 or 4 days. So it's a very addicting book, and it's hard to put down because he wrote it very well, and it was just entertaining and fun throughout the whole book. Something I would recommend for people is that I would get the audio version. The audio version is read by Bryan Cranston, so it's you just feel like the words that he wants to say. And even when he's going and he's talking about previous things in his life while he was growing up, he does like the voice acting for the other people he's talking about. So you kind of get a feel for like who those people really were when he was growing up. And I thought he did a great job there. And I just feel that you get more listening to it than you would reading. And I think it's because he is the one reading it. So you really feel like he's just really talking to you about it. So, I would recommend the audio. But if you just get the hardcover book, that will still be great as well. But overall, I would highly recommend this. But I would only recommend this for people who know Bryan Cranston and know, his work on Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle. Because I think that other people may find it somewhat amusing if you don't know him, but I don't think they would like the book that much. So again, I highly recommend this book, but only for fans of the shows and who know the actor himself. So if you guys have any questions, comments, disagreements, anything, please post that in the comments section below. I hope you guys click the subscribe button. I always upload a bunch of different book reviews. Thank you for watching my book review today. This is Mr. V. Enjoy your reading.